Happy Monday, Bullfrogs. All right, so we are starting our new book today. It's called Dark Day in the Deep Sea. It's book number 11 of the Merlin missions. And so remember, I am actually traveling back today, so I'm not quite back yet, but I'm pre-recording this so that y'all can make sure and get started on Monday and not miss a day. All right, so at the very beginning of the book, there is a letter from Mary Pope Osborne to the reader. So I'm going to read that first. Dear reader, for 3 years of my childhood, my family lived right on the ocean. Our windows were always covered with sea spray from the waves splashing on the rocks beneath the house. You might think I spent every summer playing in the water, but sadly, I was afraid of the ocean. I was convinced that sea creatures would grab me, sting me, squish me, bite me, or drown me. Sometimes having too much imagination can be a problem. I did try very hard to overcome my fear. Many times I waded in cautiously, wearing my sneakers, one step at a time. I wish I could tell you that one day I got up the courage and just dove in and was never afraid again, but alas, I never managed to get in past my knees. Do any of y'all feel that way about the ocean? I kind of probably have a little bit of, I don't want to get in too far. Only as a grown-up did I realize that the creatures of the sea were probably more afraid of me than I was of them. Since learning this, I have not been afraid. In fact, I've gone snorkeling in the waters of the Caribbean and have swum with dolphins off the coast of Mexico. My fear of ocean life has been replaced with great wonder and respect. I hope by the time you finish this book, you'll feel the same. And then she signed it, and there's a little seashell. I love that she makes it so personal. That's so cool. All right, this book is dedicated, well, it just says, the sea, once it cast its spell, holds one in its net of wonder forever. Jack Cousteau said that. So that wasn't the dedication, sorry. Okay, here we go. Chapter 1, Back to the Sea. Jack felt raindrops. He looked up and saw a summer storm cloud. Hurry, Jack called to Annie. They were riding their bikes home from the library. Jack's backpack was filled with library books. He didn't want them to get wet. As Jack and Annie pedaled faster, a large white bird swooped over them and flew into the Frog Creek woods. Did you see that? Cried Jack. A seagull, called Annie. It's a sign. You're right, said Jack. The last time they'd seen a seagull in Frog Creek, the magic treehouse was waiting for them. The woods, said Annie. Jack and Annie bumped their bikes over the curb. The rain fell harder as they headed into the wet woods. Their bike tires bounced over the rough ground, crushing leaves and snapping twigs. It must be time to look for another secret of happiness from Merlin, Jack called. I hope Merlin's feeling better, shouted Annie. I hope Teddy and Kathleen came with the TreeHouse, shouted Jack. Me too, shouted Annie. Jack and Annie steered their bikes under canopies of wet leaves. By the time they came to the tallest oak in the woods, the seagull had disappeared. But the magic treehouse was back. It was high in the tallest oak, its rope ladder swaying in the wind and rain. Jack and Annie climbed off their bikes and propped them against the trunk of the tree. Teddy, Kathleen, Annie shouted. There was no answer. I guess they didn't come this time, Jack said. Darn, said Annie. I really wanted to see them. Boo! 2 older kids looking down out of the treehouse window. A curly-haired boy with a big grin and a girl with sea blue eyes and a beautiful smile. Both were wearing long green cloaks. Yay! Cried Annie and Jack. The rain fell harder as they started up the rope ladder. When they climbed into the treehouse, they yanked off their bike helmets and hugged Teddy and Kathleen. Morgan sent us to tell you about your next mission from Merlin, said Teddy. How is Merlin? Asked Annie. Teddy stopped smiling. He shook his head. Merlin still suffers from an unspoken sorrow, Kathleen said sadly. Well, when can we see him? Asked Annie. We've learned 2 secrets of happiness to share with him, said Jack. You may visit him after you have learned 2 more secrets, said Kathleen. Morgan believes 4 is the magic number that will ensure success. We have come to send you on your search for a 3rd secret, said Teddy. Kathleen took a book from under her cloak and handed it to Jack and Annie. From Morgan's hands to our hands to yours, she said. Jack took the book from her. The cover showed waves crashing on a beach. And there's the picture of the book that they got. Wow, said Jack. We're going to the ocean? Yes, said Teddy. That is where you will next search for a secret of happiness. The ocean always makes me happy, said Annie. Once Jack and I traveled to a coral reef and swam with dolphins, and we ran into an octopus, but he was nice and shy, but the shark we saw wasn't shy, Jack broke in. It was a big hammerhead. Oh my, said Kathleen. We took a ride in a mini sub, said Annie. It was so cool. Until it started to leak, said Jack. We had to escape, said Annie. Yeah, said Jack. We tried not to splash so the shark wouldn't notice us. We had so much fun, said Annie. Kathleen smiled. Well, I hope you will not find the same fun on this journey, she said. But in case you do, you have your wand to help you, do you not? Asked Teddy. The wand of Dianthus? Of course, said Jack. I always carry it just in case. Jack reached into his backpack and pulled out the silvery wand. It was shaped like the spiraled horn of a unicorn. You remember the 3 rules? Asked Kathleen. Sure, said Jack. To make magic, we use a wish with only 5 words. And before we use the wand, we have to try our hardest, said Annie. And the wand can only be used for the good of others, said Jack, not just ourselves. Exactly, said Teddy. I wonder who the others will be on this mission, said Annie. She looked at Teddy and Kathleen. Maybe you guys. I fear not, said Kathleen. You must find the 3rd secret on your own. Just remember to keep your wits about you, said Teddy. And listen to your hearts, said Kathleen. Okay, said Annie. We'll tell you all about it when we see you again. Lightning flashed through the woods as Jack pointed to the cover of the ocean book. I wish we could go there, he said. Thunder cracked in the dark sky. The wind blew harder. You ready? Say it with me. The treehouse started to spin. It spun faster and faster. Then everything was still. Absolutely still. It's our favorite part. Okay, chapter 2. Chapter 2's title is Pirates Again? With a question mark. So, there's probably going to be pirates in this book. Okay, Jack opened his eyes. Teddy and Kathleen were gone. The warm air was filled with mist. Jack and Annie peered out the window together. The treehouse had landed in a tall tree with spreading branches. The mist was so thick they couldn't see anything around them. But Jack heard the caws of gulls and the swooshing of rolling waves. He smelled salt water and seaweed. The ocean's out there. Feel it? Said Annie. I hear it and smell it, said Jack. Then let's go play in it, said Annie. She pulled off her sneakers and socks. We can't just play, Jack said. We have to look for a secret of happiness. Well, I'm happiest when I'm playing in the ocean. Annie started down the rope ladder. I'm sure our mission's harder than that, Jack thought. He took their library books out of his pack and replaced them with a deep sea book. Hurry, said Annie. Jack put on his pack and started down after her. He stepped off the ladder onto the misty ground. Come on, said Annie. Jack followed Annie toward the sounds of seabirds and waves. They walked through feathery ferns and climbed a sloping sand dune. When they rounded the top, Jack saw waves rolling onto a wide sandy beach, but the ocean itself was still shrouded in a gray haze. That word shrouded, it means like hidden. Wow, said Annie. Yeah, said Jack. Come on, let's go in, Annie said. Jack and Annie hurried down the dune and ran toward the ocean. While Annie waded into the water, Jack stood at the edge and pulled out their research book. Listen to this, Annie, he called. Jack read loudly. Water covers 3/4 of our earth, Most of the ocean is an enormous plain, a little more than 2 miles deep. But some ocean trenches are more than 6 miles deep. That's probably the scariest part. To me, anyway, about oceans, how deep it is. Whew. More than 6 miles? Annie asked, splashing the water with her hands. It's 6 miles from our house to Aunt Libby's. I know, said Jack. He read more. The ocean is home to thousands and thousands of sea creatures. Mountains and volcanoes are also hidden deep beneath the surface of the sea. Mountains and volcanoes? Asked Annie. Under the water? That's what the book says, said Jack. The ocean's a whole world we don't know anything about. Well, some people know about it, said Annie, or that book couldn't have been written. Good point, thought Jack. Put the book away and come in, Jack, said Annie. The sun's coming out. Jack looked up from his book. The sun was burning away the mist, making the day hotter. Let's go swimming, said Annie. As Annie dove into a wave, Jack put his book back into his backpack. He left his pack on the beach, then he waded into the water. Great, huh? called Annie. Yeah, Jack said as he dug his toes into the soft, gooey sand. Cool seawater lapped around his calves. He felt warm sunshine on his face. Ooh, man. Makes me want to be at the beach right now. Let's swim farther out, said Annie. Maybe the secret of happiness is in the deep sea. How do we go down there without a submarine? Asked Jack. There they are. Do you see what's in the distance? Do you think that's friend or foe? Is that a pirate ship or what? I wonder. What do you think? What do you think it's going to be? All right. Maybe I just skipped a page. Hang on. Oh, how do we go down there without a submarine? Asked Jack. The wand, said Annie. Maybe it will turn us into fish or something. Jack closed his eyes and pictured the darkness of the deep filled with thousands of weird creatures. But the wand can only be used after we've tried our hardest. I don't think we've done that yet, he said. Oh, right, said Annie. Plus it has to be for the good of others. So first we have to find some others, Jack said, his eyes still closed. Jack, you won't believe it, said Annie. What? Jack asked dreamily. Take a look, said Annie. Jack sighed and opened his eyes. The mist had cleared a bit, and the day was becoming bright and hot. I think we just found others, said Annie. She pointed out to sea. Jack shaded his eyes and squinted. Through the wavy sunlight, he saw a large wooden ship with 3 tall masts. Whoa, he breathed. That's a ship from a long time ago. Yeah, remember when we ran into the pirate ship, said Annie. This ship looks the same, doesn't it? Oh, no, said Jack. Pirates again? Look, a rowboat's leaving the ship, said Annie. Oh, man, said Jack. It's heading toward us, said Annie. Just like that other time, remember? The pirates came ashore and chased us. Remember Pinky, Stinky, and Captain Bones? Don't panic, said Jack, panicking. He splashed out of the water and ran up onto the beach. Where should we go? Asked Annie, hurrying after him. To the treehouse, said Jack. He grabbed his backpack. But the pirates climbed up to the treehouse, said Annie. Pinky and Stinky forget Pinky and Stinky, said Jack. Let's just get out of here. Jack and Annie charged toward the sand dune. They raced up over the top and ran through the tall ferns and grass until they came to the rope ladder. Up, up, cried Jack. Jack and Annie climbed into the treehouse. Pull up the ladder, said Jack. Together, they hauled the rope ladder after them. Where's the Pennsylvania book? Said Jack. He looked around wildly for the book that always took them home. He grabbed it and found a picture of Frog Creek. Wait, don't make a wish yet, said Annie. She was looking out the window. I'm not so sure these guys are pirates. Clutching the Pennsylvania book to his chest, Jack looked out the window with Annie. There were 3 men in the rowboat. The boat rode the top of a wave and came close to the beach. Two of the men scrambled out and dragged the boat from the shallow water onto the sand. They both wore huge, bulky vests over white, puffy-sleeved shirts. They wore round white hats and white pants rolled up to their knees. "Those two don't look at all like Pinky and Stinky," said Annie. "You're right," said Jack. "Pirates never wear such clean-looking clothes." "And that third guy?" said Annie. The third man stepped out of the boat carrying a butterfly net. He pulled off his bulky vest, revealing an old-fashioned suit and a bow and tie. "He definitely doesn't look like a pirate," said Annie. "Yeah," said Jack. "He looks like he's never been on a boat before in his life." As the two sailors pulled the rowboat farther onto the beach, the man in the bow tie picked up a stick. He started poking at clumps of seaweed. "What's he doing?" asked Jack. The man dropped his stick and picked up something small from the sand. He studied it for a moment. Then he knelt down, pulled a small book out of his pocket, and started to write. "Who is he?" said Jack. "I don't know," said Annie, "but one thing's for sure. Pirates don't carry butterfly nets or write in notebooks." "You're right," said Jack. He put down the Pennsylvania book. "So, what's going on?" All right, so here they are sitting in the treehouse looking down. And here is what they see. See the gentleman there with his butterfly net? And the other two guys, they definitely don't look like pirates. Whew. Thank goodness. I was not ready for them to have to see more pirates. "Let's go find out," said Annie. She dropped the rope ladder back to the ground and started down. Jack grabbed his pack and hurried after her. Together they ran barefoot over the hot sand and through the feathery ferns. They climbed to the top of a sand dune and looked down. The three men were still at the edge of the water while the big ship drifted offshore. "Hey, look, you can see the name of the ship," said Annie. Jack peered through the haze and read on the side of the ship, HMS Challenger. "I'll look it up," he whispered. He pulled out the research book and searched the index. "It's here," he whispered. He found the right page and read, "The HMS Challenger. HMS stands for Her Majesty's Ship. Was a British Navy vessel that served as the first dedicated scientific exploration ship in the history of the world." "Oh, man," said Jack, looking up. "That is so cool." "Yeah, read more," whispered Annie. Jack read on. From 1872 to 1876, so 4 years, the HMS Challenger circled the globe, exploring the dark depths of the ocean. There were over 200 seamen and 6 scientists on board. "So we landed in the 1870s, said Jack, looking up again. "And that guy with a butterfly net must be one of the scientists," said Annie. "Come on, let's go meet him." Before Jack could tell her to wait, Annie darted down the sand dune. "Hey, guys," she called. She waved her arms. "Hi!" The three men whirled around. Their eyes grew wide with their mouths dropped open. They looked at Annie as if they were staring at a ghost. All right, that's where we're going to stop. So chapter 3 is where we'll pick up tomorrow, and it's called A Creature Named Henry. Sounds interesting. A Creature Named Henry. All right, I hope you enjoy those first 2 chapters. And I'm excited that this book goes along kind of with what I'm about to do, or what I'm just got through doing, I guess, since I'm pre-recording this. And I hope that you are maybe getting a chance to go to a beach somewhere. Comment below. I want to know, how many of y'all have ever been to the ocean, or on a ship, like a cruise ship, or just to like a beach? Maybe there are some beaches here in Texas on the coast. Maybe you've been to Alabama or Florida or California. Just let me know. Have you ever been to a beach? Oh, or maybe even the Carolinas. I think there's some beaches there. So let me know which beach you've been to and what was your favorite part about the beach. Did you get to see any animals? Did you get to find stuff in the actual water or on the sand? Did you build sand castles? Did you have fun? I want to know. Tell me about it. All right. Well, we will read chapter 3 and 4 tomorrow and see what happens to Jack and Annie. I'm so proud of y'all. Thank you for reading with me, and I'll see you tomorrow. Love y'all. Bye.